Action. All right, we're making chili rellenos today. I make them really good. I'm not gonna say they're better than any Mexican restaurant I've been to, but they are. So I'm gonna show you. Right now I've got 10 egg whites whipping. I've made a really nice saffron rice pilaf. We've done rice pilaf. You want Zach come over here and take a peek at this? Okay. Saute the rice with butter, onions, saffron till the rice browns. Then I added chicken broth, a little lemon juice. Cooked it for 22 minutes on a low heat. And I just turned it off a minute ago. For the chili rellenos, the skin's got to come off. And we do that over an open flame. So you can do this on your barbecue or at home. You can do it right on the flame like this. I like to use my rack because then I don't have to worry about the pepper falling in the cracks and so forth. I've already done this, pre-grilled these peppers and peeled them already ahead of time, and I've already stuffed some of them. So I'm going to show you,
You don't take the seeds or the stem out before you start, right?
I do not. The seeds are all it's not like a green pepper where the seeds run down the ribs. Okay? You see? There's no seeds here. All the seeds are connected to the stem right there. So I don't mess with them because I don't want to tear it up. So I got my egg whites. There's nothing in here except egg whites. And make sure you don't get any yolk in there. Otherwise, they're not going to whip up. I always do the whites first, so then I don't have to wash this bowl out because I'm going to do the yolks next. If I did the yolks first, then I'd have to wash this bowl out really good, make sure there was no fat in there from the yolks. This way, I can keep going. So we're going to whip these egg yolks until they have like a 5-second ribbon. So we're going to whip those and get those until they change in color, a pale yellow. I've got my peppers here. You have to make sure they're completely, you can't have any of this because that skin will stick to it. What's happening is not only are we burning the skin off, but we're actually cooking the pepper. You can see how soft they are. And once we get this all black like this, you cover this with a paper towel, or you can put them in a paper bag. You can wrap it with saran wrap. But the whole point is you want this now to steam so that skin will loosen up. My egg whites are going. My egg yolks are going. My egg whites are done. The cheese that you use for chili rellenos is Oaxaca. Now, if I could get fresh Oaxaca cheese from Oaxaca, I would. But I'm using Munster cheese because it's very similar to the Oaxaca, but it melts a little bit softer. So I shred the cheese because it's easier to put in there like that. I put the two ends of the pepper, and I don't go like this, like a sewing needle. I try to go as parallel to the meat as I can. And I use a long skewer instead of a bunch of toothpicks, so then I can just pull one out when it's done. That's going to be a while yet, so we're going to stuff these other two peppers. All right, that's nice and black all over. And we'll cover that, and I'll show you how to peel those later. I've already done some ahead of time because I like to keep my live stream moving. Like I said, I like to use shredded cheese. I shred this Munster myself. Don't buy pre-shredded cheese. Shred it yourself. The shredded cheese in the store has things to keep it from clumping together. They coat the cheese with a starch of some sort. You want a nice fresh shredded cheese that has nothing added to it. Also, with the shredded cheese, you can really pack a lot of cheese in there. Now, poblanos can be hot or spicy. It depends on the pepper. You know, sometimes I've made them and they're just really hot, but most of the time they're not. Okay? As you can see how we're starting to get ribbons on that yolk? That's where we want to be. And there's nothing in there except the egg yolks. So when I make a batch, I usually have 20 chili rellenos that I do, and I use 10 eggs. So, you know, for every 2 chili rellenos, you need an egg. But it's so much easier to whip egg whites and egg yolks when you have actually some egg white and egg yolk to whip. If you got only a couple, it's difficult. I have some olive oil heating on medium. Now, to the batter, I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of flour. I know, Linda, you're not liking that, but I'm sorry. It helps us make a nice dough.
Does it matter if you add the flour before or after you mix the yolks and whites together?
You add it just like I showed you.
Okay.
Because you want to get that flour incorporated. You know, you don't want to add the flour. You don't want to mix you don't want to overmix this. You don't want to mix the air out of this. Okay? You know, you want it to be light and airy. The flour helps it stay together and create a nice coating. You don't want really any lumps of white in there, but you don't want to beat this. You don't want to beat the air out of it. Okay, we talked about slamming your spatula against the side of the bowl. You don't want to knock air out. Okay, now what we do with these is I just kind of sprinkle them with flour like this in my hand, and I roll them around. And because I don't want excess flour on there, otherwise the batter's not going to stick. Okay? Now, say like this one here. This one kind of fell apart. The cheese is open. What you do is you work just a little bit more carefully with this one, and I'll show you how to get this one in the pan very carefully. Okay, so we get these floured. What takes the most time of making these is getting the skin peeled off the chili rellenos. You know, once you do the prep of the peppers and the cheese, it's pretty quick after that. I made these once every other month at the restaurant for me and the guys. And it's my favorite Spanish Mexican dish. And it's always a dish I order when I go to a Mexican restaurant. And I'm always disappointed. Because, you know, it's one of those things that needs to be made fresh. You really can't make chili rellenos ahead of time. I mean, you can, but it tastes like it. It's one of those, you make them the same day that you eat them. Okay. So, my oil's heating up. Let me wash my hands. I got my soap water, my bleach water. You don't want to make this batter too far ahead of time. You know, you want to make them when you're ready to rock and roll. Okay, these peppers have been sitting for a minute or so. I use a rounded serrated knife, and you just want to, you clean your knife as you scrape.
You don't need to use pressure at all, do you?
Not too much pressure, no. This should come right off. And I use a rounded tip because it won't poke a hole in your pepper. And if you have a little bit of skin left on there, that's okay. That's the flavor. I mean, this is how a really great salsa is made, by grilling these peppers and onions and tomatoes right over a live fire. That gives you that layer of outdoor goodness. You know, it's just got that smoky flavor, you know. And I try to clean as much as I can around here. I like to leave that stem on. It gives me something to hold on to.
So you want to make sure that all of the skin on the pepper is black then, right? You don't really
Yes.
want to leave any.
If you leave something like, see here, it's a little bit green, that's not going to peel off as easy. And that might stay there. But because we covered the pepper with a towel, it steamed it off already. And you can see that these peppers have cooked, even though all we did was char the outside skin. But you can see where some of that skin just won't come off because it wasn't burnt. But if you get 90 to 95% of this skin off, that's okay. You know, this little bit on here, that's fine. Because like I said, it's flavor. You're still going to put a batter on this. You still have cheese on the inside. We're going to top it with a red sauce, which is basically my Pomodoro sauce with smoked paprika in it. You know, you cut, see how the seeds, they're all at the top. They're not on the ribs. So by the time you eat this chili rellenos this way, what you're left with is just the stem with the pepper pods, and that's it. Like so.
You're not selling these in the store.
I'm not selling these in the store because they would be too expensive, and they are a lot of work. That's why I'm showing you how to make them. You know, get your hands dirty. Get the kids in the kitchen. Have them scrape the peppers. You know, have them shred the cheese. Have them set the table. Get them involved. Okay. So, now, looks like our oil is ready.
And you can tell by just sprinkling some flour in the pan, right?
Yeah, or a couple drops of water. Okay. So I tap the batter on top. I try not to move it around too much.
So you're just cooking the egg batter then in the pan, and the cheese melts? Do you ever pop what?
The cheese doesn't melt right now. What we're going to do is we're going to get these done, and then they're going to go onto a sheet pan.
Do you have the oven on?
Yes, I do. Yeah, just going to turn it up a little bit. So I set the pepper in there. I put a little batter on top. I grab it by the stem. Okay, and I'll lay it in here. So now to flip, I take a spoon and I roll them over.
So those cook pretty quickly then, like
yeah, well, it's only egg. It's only egg. And then these are going to go on to a sheet pan. Now, if I were selling these in the restaurant, this is the point at where I would put them on a pan, and then when they would be prepped. And when I got an order, I would put it in the oven like an order of saganaki, and I'd bake it, and then I'd finish it off with hot rice and hot sauce.
But still made the same day that they're being eaten.
Yes, I mean, if you ate them the next day, what's going to happen is this batter is not going to be as spongy and delicious. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's just beautiful. And then that's where we take the stick out. Okay?
I'm gonna get you dipping that again once more.
I grab it by the top. If it has a stem, I'll grab it by the stem. You know, if there's a spot that didn't get batter, I'll put a little bit on it. See how you got that little spot there? I put a little batter on it.
Mind dipping one right here. You're just dipping the pepper in.
Dipping the pepper in the batter, grabbing it by the stem, making sure it's coated. I got my oil at medium heat because all I really want to do is I just want to brown this egg.
How deep is the oil in your pan?
About 1/2 inch. Like I said, see how I got a little bit of exposed? You just put a little batter on it, just like that. This should be made at Christmas Eve. I make these every year for my birthday. My daughter and we've got pictures of us doing it when she was 8 years old. I put her on scraping the peppers at 8 years old. And she scraped all these peppers today. You know, kids can do this stuff, okay? Oh, I didn't have any room, so I'm going to leave that on standby. I'm going to wash my hand again. Just get underneath it and help it roll over. Roll it over against the side of the pan, just like that. Come on. There we go. Now, I'm going to get a couple of these in the oven right away.
Someone just said Mexican approved.
All right. Thank you. Bake those 5 to 10 minutes just to get that cheese melted.
What temp do you have the oven at?
I got it at 400 because I want it to happen quickly.
Okay.
I want that batter to get nice and crispy. I want that cheese to get nice and melted. That's another thing about the Munster. It melts a lot faster than the Oaxaca. Although, I will say this. If it's a fresh Oaxaca from a Mexican town, I'm using that. Oaxaca is like a really good creamy mozzarella. But I find that the Munster cheese from Wisconsin is as good, if not, it has a little more flavor. I won't say it has a tang, but you can tell that Munster isn't as plain as mozzarella. Now you could use mozzarella, you could use Fontina, you could use different cheeses. You can. But Munster is going to give you the best.
Would you recommend a slow heat in the oven or a quick heat for the cheese?
I recommend hot. Right away. A slow heat's not good for this egg batter. We want this to crisp up and stay nice and firm. These are for us. This is dinner tonight. I had a customer come in tonight and he said, well, I don't know if I like them. I was like, well, you're not getting any of that. So, talking about you, Fred.
Sorry, Fred.
Sorry, Fred.
Not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. You know, this one was a little bit open, so I'm just being a little more careful. You know, as I get to the end of my batter, I use a little bit more of my handwork. You know, I haven't added any more oil to the pan. I had, I believe, 18 chili rellenos here. I did 10 eggs, because I told you it was an egg for every 2 chilies. And I used like 2 tablespoons of flour. No cream of tartar or anything. Now, when I said I've been to many Mexican restaurants that just couldn't execute this dish, I realize that it's, you know, it's not feasible to have someone working a chili relleno station, okay? But that's what you almost have to have. You have to have somebody who's just making these in the kitchen. You know, you have a grandma who's working the tilting skillet. You know, and all she's doing is making chili rellenos. Chili rellenos is a made-to-order dish, you know? And then when you get an order, you pop it in the oven, you melt it up nice, and then you've already got your rice. You know, the Pomodoro sauce, you know, we make this Pomodoro sauce with onions, garlic, fennel, crushed red chili, and I added ground fresh cumin to it as well. And then I made the nice buttery Greek rice pilaf, but I threw saffron in it because it's Spanish, and it's just got nice color to bring to the plate. I have to say, while I'm at it, that I really enjoy showing people how I make my recipes, because I really think you're going to enjoy it. You know, I really think this is a wonderful dish. You could fill these with other things other than cheese. You could fill it with rice and meat that's been seasoned, but you want it, you know, you want it fairly cold. Just be gentle. This is the most delicate part about the whole thing. You know, these two need a little bit more color before I flip them.
You post this whole video onto YouTube, right?
Yeah, next week.
Okay. Next week.
You know, well, after we Instagram it, we put it on YouTube. You know, I really appreciate the followers and the support and the great comments. I love it when someone says something silly and then another chef will chime in and say, hey, knucklehead, he's doing it right. Leave the poor guy alone. Okay, you can see I kind of went a little early on that, but that's okay because in the oven it's going to get the color that I want it to get. Okay? I use the side of the pan to help me on this. That one didn't look too good, but you know what? When we put the sauce on it, it's still going to have that nice egg batter on it. You know, now this one didn't close very well, so we're just going to let that one get a little more color. I'm just going to turn the heat up a bit. Let's check the ones we got in the oven. Let me get a hot pad so I don't burn myself live on camera. No, looking like a minute or so. But in the meantime, while that's finishing up, we can clean up my table. We're doing this inside today because it's raining in Lake Geneva, so we couldn't do anything out on the grill. This is something that you could do on the grill. You'd have to be careful because of the oil, but definitely you could do this outside on the grill. Chili rellenos. And if you didn't have the oven, then you would probably lower the heat a little bit. And pan fry them a little bit longer in the pan just to get that cheese to melt. You don't need the oven, but that's how I do it.
Someone just said legend in all caps.
Well, I don't know if I'm a legend or a goat because I'm not inventing recipes here, okay? These recipes have been done for years. I'm just showing you the little tips and the tricks to do this at home. Don't be afraid to cook. You'll find that filling the house up with delicious smells. This is my spare oil bucket, so I can get rid of that pan right away. But you'll find that cooking from scratch at home is a great way to get the kids off the phone and be together as a family. I mean, my daughter and I made this dish at least a half a dozen times a year, and we always did it together. And we have pictures of us doing it, and we have memories of all the laughs and the jokes and the ribbing that we gave each other. And that's why I love to cook, is because you're not only sharing food, but you're sharing love and family together. So, you know, that's what I want to inspire. I want to inspire people to make easy, simple food at home and do it with your kids. Do it with your family. Do it with your parents. You know, our parents are getting older. Make them dinner and take it to them so they don't have to eat that crap in a package from the store. Put the chicken nuggets down. Make some chili rellenos. Make something special. Okay, so we got okay, excellent. Look at that. Is that just gorgeous or what? Can you grab me another Medusa plate, honey?
Of course.
See, now, don't get all worried about this, okay? Because we're going to give it a little bit of my Pomodoro sauce, seasoned with Spanish spices. Garlic, a little bit of oregano, some cumin. You can use this rice with ground lamb or beef, like a taco meat, and use this to fill. Ah, great Grateful Dead tune on the background. I don't know if you can hear it, but I mean, saffron rice, made Greek pilaf style, and that means I took the onions and the rice and I browned it first, so it keeps this rice fluffy. I love Spanish food. It's one of my favorite cuisines, but I don't like the rice. I don't like it's too starchy. It's not easy to eat. When you make rice pilaf, you get this beautiful.
You toast the extra starch off a little bit.
Yeah, and you're coating each grain of rice so it doesn't stick together like one big ball. Look at that. I mean, and it's buttery, and it's chickeny, and it's got that saffron color and flavor. All right, then what I like to do is a little crema. And I like the crema on my rice, to tell you the truth. This is what I do, okay? It's probably not what the Spanish do, but it's what I do. And then I got some chopped cilantro. We're going to have to shut the front door, the garage door, and the back door today because I know this is good. And as you can see, we got cheese in there. Don't put a lot of salt in your tomato. The cheese brings salt, and the rice. Oh, I love Greek yogurt on my rice.
Someone just said bravo.
Chili Rellenos. It'll take you less than an hour to make it for 4 people. They will be like, holy cow, how did you learn how to do this? And keep me out of it. I'm sorry, I'm taking bite number. I'm going to take another one. But look at that cheese. Huh?
Yum.
Get out of here. Yes, this is probably the first time I've done 3 bites on a show. Forget about it.
Someone said your food always looks so amazing.
It tastes better.
Yeah.
This, when I made this at the restaurant, half of my staff in the kitchen were Mexicans. And they would always say, "Bravo, Jefe. This is really good, Jefe." You want the tomato sauce hot, throw peppers in it, put jalapenos, serranos, whatever you want. I use smoked paprika today, so it has a little bit of heat. The poblano chilies they're mild today. Sometimes they can be hot, sometimes they can be spicy. Don't mess around with the seeds in there. They're all right here. I mean,
Yeah,
let me show you. Okay, so you eat this chili rellenos, okay? All the seeds right there. Goodbye. Okay? So all of you out there saying, "Well, I clean the seeds before I start." Well, then go ahead and clean the seeds. That's the way you do it, and that's the way your grandmother showed you. I have no problem with that.
Lula said, "Love you, Papa."
Love you, Lula. Jake, thanks for watching. I know my other daughter's watching. Siggy, we miss you. We love you. And to all my daughters, they already know we're eating this for Christmas Eve. So we'll see you next week. We'll try to be outside again. Today we made chili rellenos.
You slayed on that one, Dad. Someone just said.
Give it a try. Don't be afraid. Okay?
Okay. Do you have the other pan in the oven?
That's a wrap.